So this is something that legitimately just is not going away. And I made a video about this about a month or so ago, maybe not even that, a couple weeks or so ago, about the fact that Essendon are extremely interested in trading up with West Coast to try and draft Cooper Dove-Tyler. This is not going away, as there was recently a report by the Herald Sun which does say the speculations that Dons are looking to trade up for draft unicorn. Essendon is said to be obsessed with a top prospect, as multiple pick swaps are mooted that could completely change the landscape of the draft. I mean, yeah, we've been hearing about this. Like, I think Essendon are more obsessed with Cooper Dove-Tyler at this point than what I'm obsessed with my future wife, Monique Conti. And I think that is honestly a pretty goddamn hard thing to do. And now I think about it, I don't know if they're actually that obsessed. But obviously they are. They are that obsessed with Cooper Dove-Tyler. They really, really want him. And can you legitimately blame him? With pretty much every single ruckman and their dad leaving the Essendon Football Club, whether it was Todd Goldstein being 69 years old and getting delisted, whether it was Sam Draper, leaving in free agency, Nick Bryan freaking tearing his ACL and probably going to be missing most of the year. I don't even know who their ruckman is going to be in 2026. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if I even get a call to be their ruckman. I'm only 5'8", 173 centimeters, so I'm still a chance. I'm still very well a chance, especially if they don't make this happen. But there's a lot of good reason why they're obsessed with Dove-Tyler. He's a 200 centimeter key forward / ruckman, mainly a ruckman that can play key forward because this guy can do it all. He literally gets 20 disposals per game for fun, moves around the ground like prime Brodie Grundy has, prime Nank in the finals, prime freaking Maxi Gawn, moves around the ground like all the elite ruckmen of the last couple years, while also being a bloke who can play as a key forward and can rest down there, which is insane. And this is another prospect with Cooper Dove-Tyler that Essendon will be really looking at, is that if Dove-Tyler does fail as a ruckman, which I don't think he will, I think he'll be a very good ruckman in the game, but he's also pretty under height. Like, the average ruckman now you want is about 204, 206 centimeters tall. If for some reason Dove-Tyler just, does decent as a ruckman, but there's the option of him being an elite key forward, you also take that. Because I think Essendon are looking for that as well. Not only are they desperate for a ruckman going into next year, but I think they would love to have another guy who can go along with Nate Caddy for years and years going forward. And that's what Cooper Dove-Tyler can do. Like, not only is he elite in the ruck, where he'll get you 20 disposals for fun, be a hit-out machine. Like, he's pretty good with the hit-outs as well because he's so athletic and just can jump over multiple blokes. He can go and play key forward. So if he's stinking it up, you can play him in the key forward role. But more importantly, if he's resting, sometimes you don't even have to rest this guy on the bench. You can actually play him as a key forward and he'll go down there and rest. And that is an amazing prospect. Imagine having the ability to have him as your main ruckman, but then when he's getting really tired, rest him down forward and move Peter Wright from being the key forward to being the ruckman. That would be great rotation, and both of those guys would be able to do that. And that would give you a really interesting three-way dynamic of Dove-Tyler in the ruck, swapping with Peter Wright, and then having Nate Caddy as the main predominant key forward. That is a really interesting, trio right there. That no wonder Essendon are obsessed with Dove-Tyler, because why wouldn't you want to obviously make that happen? But the issue is that I don't know if the Eagles are going to do this, because pick 5 and 6 is what Essendon currently hold, and that is going to turn into later picks because of all the academy matching and whatnot. But in any draft, you would trade pick 2 away if you're West Coast for picks 5 and 6. But this is a much weaker draft than what we've previously seen. Scouts are saying that like the top 3 ranked players, Sullivan, Roby, Dove-Tyler and Dersma, are a lot further away than the other ranked prospects. Meaning though, if you're the Eagles, you probably want to go best available. It is time for them to bring in some top end talent. Because right now, I believe Harley Reid is like their only top end talent. And it would be great for them to go and add Dersma or Duff Tyler to that list. In my opinion, I see that being a better option for the Eagles than what I see them doing, adding Dersma and then adding a Sam Grill and a Sam Cumming or something like that with those picks. In my eyes, I think it would make more sense for them to go with the top end talent of Cooper Duff Tyler. It's also like Cooper Duff Tyler would very much fit Andrew McQualter's game style, which is based off Damien Hardwick's Richmond game style, which had a smaller 199 centimeter ruckman in Toby Nankervis, who moved around the ground and was less of a tap ruckman, but more of a mobile ruckman, which is what Cooper Duff Tyler could be. I think Duff Tyler has definitely the upside of being a better tap ruckman than what Nank did. But we got to remember, Nank was actually a underrated tap ruckman through his prime. And it's only now because he's nearly 30 that he's kind of lost that. You know, Duff Tyler could be similar in terms of he might also be, from what we've seen, a little bit more athletic than what Nank was. So that is the prospect right there of having a guy who, you know, Andrew McQualter had as his ruckman for years when he was the midfield coach at Richmond. He had Toby Nankervis as the ruckman in there, as a mobile ruckman who did his thing and was a lead around the ground. He has the chance now to kind of replicate that with a bloke who has the prospect to be a more athletic version and a better disposal getter, and actually has the ability to play key forward than what Toby Nankervis did at Richmond. And that's what Andrew McQualter is going to be loving for Cooper Duff Tyler. I'd be surprised if they made this trade, and I'd be surprised if they moved on, and I don't think it'd be in the cards. It's the same as I would genuinely be surprised if the Eagles took Sullivan Roby now instead of Cooper Duff Tyler. You know, that's been word around town as well, that the Eagles may genuinely look to take Sullivan Roby over Cooper Duff Tyler, and I don't see that happening. I just see Duff Tyler fitting way too well in Andrew McQualter's game style, where he wouldn't be freaking, you know, nearly squirting garlic aioli sauce out of his private parts, just of the proposition of having a guy who is similar to what Toby Nankervis and Brodie Grundy have been, but a guy who could be a more athletic version of them who can play key forward. Like, Andrew McQualter got to have Nank as a 3-time premiership ruckman. He's seen what a mobile ruck can do in the system that he likes to use. Let's see what he can do now with a guy who may be more athletic than that, and a guy who can play forward, which is what Cooper Duff Tyler can do. So I can't see West Coast doing this, but I can see Essendon throwing everything at it. Now, will 5 and 6 get it done? No, I don't think it will. I don't think it will in this year's draft. That is so much weaker down the line. I just don't think it will. Like, I feel like there's going to be that one guy in the comments who hates on that opinion, but the reality is, if you actually do some research, in any other draft that would have happened, but not in this year's draft. I don't feel like it will. It could still, I'm not saying it won't. West Coast could still settle for it, but I think you'd have to overpay. And considering Essendon are literally being labelled as obsessed with this guy, they're going to have to pay a little bit more. And it could be like 5 and 6 in a future second. Would you do that if the Eagles? Yeah, I think you almost would do that. But if Andrew McQualter is fully in love with Cooper Duff Tyler, you're not going to do that, because you'd also prefer to get the top end talent, and you're only making that trade if he's just not as in love with Cooper Duff Tyler as what Essendon are. So, yeah, I feel like West Coast are going to go with the top end talent. They're going to go with a Dersma, and they're going to go with a Duff Tyler, and then they're going to settle for like maybe another midfielder down the line at like pick 13 or whatever they have right now, right? That's what I think is going to happen. I think Essendon would be lucky to make this trade happen. But I also do believe Essendon need to start getting on the board and get some top end talent in as well. But they might have to wait till next year to start that on this new rebuild. But we'll have to definitely wait and see. Again, I'd very much love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for the latest AFL content and AFL news. What do you guys think is going to be happening with the 2025 AFL draft? Are Essendon going to be able to get Cooper Duff, Tyler, or West Coast going to, you know, hold thin and not make this trade happen? Again, I'd very much like to know your thoughts and opinions on this down below. Make sure to leave a like to let me know you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel for latest sports content. My gaming/movie channel will always be linked down below. Go check that out. And give my Instagram a follow if you haven't as well, which will also be linked down below. But yeah, as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.